Jonathan, this is B Movie Man. This movie I'm going to check out today. Well, I'm going to be doing something different for today. I'm going to be checking out a movie that's not considered a B movie. This movie is considered a horror classic by the horror community. And I'm reviewing it for a couple of reasons. One, the main reasons being that last time I watched it was probably around 2005, 2006, and it just didn't work for me. Like, it was one of those movies that I was disappointed that I didn't like it as much as the other horror fans did. So I kind of brushed it away and I watched other Christmas horror movies instead. A decade or more later, I kind of started thinking about it. I should probably give this movie another rewatch. It didn't sit well with me that I didn't care for it. So for the last couple of years, it's been on my list to rewatch, and I just never have rewatched it. But thankfully, this year is different because I got a private message on my Facebook from my good friend Erfan Jones, who runs the YouTube channel Vid-O-Rama. He does tribute paintings regarding horror movies, cult horror movies. And he wanted me to do a crossover video with him regarding this movie, and I said absolutely. So I went on Walmart, I bought the Blu-ray of it, and I rewatched it. And I will say that I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot more than my first time. And that movie is the one, the only, the legendary 1974 classic, Black Christmas. Now, I'm sure a lot of people on here know, Black Christmas. But for the people who don't know Black Christmas, it is a 1974 horror movie directed by the legendary Bob Clark. You know Bob Clark for directing another Christmas movie, that insanely popular A Christmas Story. He also directed Porky's, which is one of the greatest sex comedies of all time. He directed Baby Geniuses 1 and 2, which are considered some of the worst movies ever made. But before he did all that, and he directed a couple of horror movies in the 1970s. He did Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. He did the insanely underrated Death Dream, which I highly recommend. But the most popular was definitely Black Christmas. Now, what is Black Christmas about? It's about a sorority house that is keeps on getting these obscene phone calls that are getting nastier and nastier, more violent, and the person on the other line keeps on mentioning Billy, something happening to someone called Agnes, and soon enough, they find out that the phone calls are coming from within the sorority themselves, and this person has started killing the sorority girls one by one by one. Now, you probably maybe have heard it if you have not seen the original, because there was 2 remakes of this. There was one in 2006, and there was some kind of remake of it in 2019. I really don't consider it a remake. It's an entirely different movie. But I actually really liked the 2006 remake. It's very trashy, but I thought it was very fun Christmas trashy fun. It was really fun Christmas trash. But this movie right here, though, the thing that really impressed me the most with it, going in with fresh eyes with it is really absolutely terrifying. And the reason it's so terrifying is that at the end of the movie, you don't really have any answers to any of the questions. You think they defeated the killer at the end of the movie, but as the credits roll, you hear the phone ring and you find out that the killer is still inside the house. And you don't know who this person is. You don't know if anything he says on the phone conversations is true. Who's Billy? Who's Agnes? What's the point of all this? Why is he going after the sorority? You get no answers to that. And there's going to be people who are going to be frustrated with that because there's people who need answers to every single question. But for me, that's what got under my skin the most, is the fact that you don't know who this is. No idea. You see his eye. I think you see basically that right there. I'll put a better look on the screen. That's about what you get of the killer right there. You know it's a person, of course, but you don't know who it is. And what makes it even more effective is the group of characters in the movie that are likable, and for the most part, they're likable and fun. You get Margot Kidder, who plays the alcoholic sorority girl of the group. She's probably the most unlikable one, but I thought she was charming. The most likable being the lead, which is Olivia Hussey, who you'll know from Romeo and Juliet. She was in Psycho 4. She was in the Clint Howard classic, Ice Cream Man. But she plays the lead in this movie, and she does a really good job. She has a really interesting backstory in this movie. She's having a fight with her boyfriend who got her pregnant. She wants an abortion, he does not. There's a complication involving that. And that actually adds a lot of depth to the movie, and it actually makes her character really interesting to watch, especially when she starts going through, you know, everything in the sorority house involving this unknown assailant who is determined to kill these sorority girls off one by one. He even goes after the house mother, so no one's safe. But another interesting thing is there's the police storyline of the movie. John Saxon plays the lead in the movie, the lead police officer in the movie, and he's trying to tap the phone so he can figure out where the phone calls are coming from. As you know already, the phone calls are coming from within the house itself because the killer's been in there the entire time. He's really good. This is before Nightmare on Elm Street, and this is right after Enter the Dragon, and he's really good. You know, he played a cop again in Nightmare on Elm Street. He's a far more likable character in this one than Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, and I'm sure most people would agree with me on it. And the other thing that impressed me with it is even though this movie is a very scary movie, it is really funny at times, and you can see the seeds of Porky's being planted within this movie's DNA. There's a scene with John Saxon, another police officer, that feels like a prototype for a very similar scene that was in Porky's, the first one. And it was a really funny scene, and honestly, we needed that in the movie. We needed to laugh a little because things were going to not get any brighter in this movie. Things were going to continually get darker and darker and darker until the end credits roll. And it's still darker at the end of the movie. There's a good reason it's called Black Christmas. This isn't White Christmas. This isn't a family movie. This is a downright terrifying horror movie. I wanted to also mention the score by Carl Zitcher. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. He's done scores for several of Bob Clark's movies, including A Christmas Story. So this is like the flip side of his score for A Christmas Story. The music here is actually really creepy and well done. I would put it up there with some of the best horror scores of the 1970s. I would put it up there with Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. Honestly, I would put it up there with those two. Because when I think of horror scores of the 70s, those are the two that pop up. Although Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not necessarily a score as sounds, but the sounds are so terrifying. And this movie feels like a mixture of that and the Halloween score. And this definitely is a prototype for Halloween. You can see like the POV shots and everything. You can tell that Carpenter was influenced by this. I think he says he wasn't, but I don't know what to believe anymore, but it definitely feels like Halloween was influenced by this movie. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think both Halloween and this are incredible movies and some of the best of the 70s. But their approaches are very different. The similar approach is Michael Myers, you don't know why he started killing, why he killed his sister and why he's killing people. He was a normal kid that suddenly one day he became this evil thing. And in this movie, you don't know why the killer's killing. You don't know his name. You don't know anything about him. And it's absolutely terrifying that, I think the most terrifying mysteries in life, like in true crime and all that, are the ones that we absolutely have no answers to. Because you're like, why did this happen? Why did this person kill all these people? And we don't know. The Zodiac, for example, regardless, I know there's like information that it might be this one guy out there. The FBI is denying it. What makes the Zodiac killer so terrifying is the fact we don't know who it is. We don't know why he did this, really. He just started killing these people and then disappeared. And that's exactly what Black Christmas is. Because the end credits of this movie highly suggest that most likely he killed Olivia Hussey's character and probably disappeared. I'm going to assume that's what happened. But we never got a sequel, so I guess we'll never know. And it's fine that we don't have a sequel because I don't want answers to it. The 2006 remake did fill in those answers, and I really enjoyed the 2006 remake. It's a much trashier, sleazier movie, and not a better movie than this, but I thought it was a lot of fun. But that one actually answers, the questions that were left in this movie. But I don't consider that explaining what happens in that movie. That just explains in that movie. They're two completely tones. But they're both great. I think this one is definitely the better movie. It's a gorgeously filmed movie, too. It's very beautiful to look at, as is the 2008 remake. That movie needs a Blu-ray because that movie is gorgeous looking, especially the Christmas lights and everything. But enough about the remake. I can review that another time. But overall, I highly recommend Black Christmas, even though you've probably already seen it. It has an incredible cast. Olivia Hussey and John Saxon are fantastic. Margot Kidder steals the show. She's a lot of fun, even though she's not necessarily a likable character. It's scary. The phone calls are absolutely terrifying. And again, the reason I liked it the most is the fact there is no answers in this movie. He came, killed, and then probably disappeared. And that's the end of it. So yeah, I highly recommend Black Christmas. Most likely you've already seen it, but if not, check it out before Christmas. It's a lot of fun. I will embed Efron's crossover video at the end, and I'll put a link down below for it. As I mentioned, I like the 2006 remake. 2019 remake, on the other hand, yeah, I don't know what the hell that movie was. I assumed when Blumhouse announced it was going to be a sequel to this movie. So when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, that nothing like Black Christmas. And it was such a misguided mess that I just don't get what was the point of it. Why did it need to use the Black Christmas name? I don't know. It should have called itself something different. That one I do not recommend at all. And if you're a fan of trashy Christmas movies, I do recommend the 2006 remake. But overall, yeah, Black Christmas, A+ horror movie. Check it out if you have not seen it. As for upcoming reviews, I'll be checking out some more stuff in January. So look out for that. Comment down below, what's your favorite Christmas horror movie? Let me know down below. If you like my channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and comment about that below. But that's it for now. I'm Jonathan Knight. Thanks for watching.